All right, in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of ideas as to how you can actually blow through a book a lot faster than normal. I have this book here, 0 to 1. Usually what I do is I write down in the book when I read it last and how long it took me. So you can see June 6, 2018 took me 6 hours, and then 5 hours a couple of weeks ago. If I stood up and drank a lot of water during the day, I could probably knock this sucker off in about 4 hours. But another thing to do, this is what I like doing, is I like using Audible, and I'll just share with you an example of an audiobook. So let me just play this from the beginning here. Let me see if I can find my book. 1 second. I'm going to find 0 to 1, see if I can grab it here. And I'll show you an example here. It's pretty straightforward. It's not too crazy, but you'd be shocked at what you can do. So let me just play this. Oops, that's too crazy. Hang on here. So this is at 3.5 speed. There are apps that you can get, and I might try this out, where you can actually get up to 5 speed or higher, 5 times speed or higher. So right now, listen to this. This is 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Chapter 1. 0 to 1. Notes on startups for the future by Peter Thiel with Blake Lester. Preface. 0 to 1. Everyone in business happens only once. The next Bill Gates will not build an operating system. The next Larry Page or Sergey Brin won't make a search engine. And the next Mark Zuckerberg won't create a social network. If you're copying these guys, you aren't learning. Now, I don't know if you can hear that. Let me put it here in front. Of course, it's easier to copy a model, which makes it new. Doing what we already know how to do takes the world from 1 to 10, adding more is something familiar. But every time you create something new, we go from 0 to 1. The act of creation is singular, as is the moment of creation. And the result is something fresh and strange. Unless they invest in the difficult task of creating new things, American companies will fail. What's interesting is if you started off at 3.5, it'll take a little while. It'll probably take you about 5 minutes or so, but your mind will ramp up to speed. And you could knock off a book like this in about an hour and 23 minutes. So what I like to do, and it really depends on the time of day. If you're doing this at night just before bed, it probably won't work. I like to do this first thing in the morning, or if I'm driving for long distance, I'll slowly ramp it up. But there are apps where they will automatically ramp up for you and speed up, and you won't even notice it. So let's just go to half speed. Now that we heard it fast, so let's go to half 1 time speed.
In the future, no matter how big their profits remain today, what happens when we gained everything to be?
Peter Thiel sounds like he's burnt out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it to 1. I'm going to increase it by half speed until we get to a point where we're at 3.5 times speed. And you'll be shocked at how fast your ears can pick this up.
We had from fine-tuning the old lines of business that we've inherited.
0.7.
Unlikely as it sounds, the answer threatens to be far worse than the crisis of 2008. Today's so-called best practices
this is normal
lead
speed
to dead ends. The best paths are new and untried. In a world of gigantic administrative bureaucracies, both public and private, searching for a new path might seem like hoping for a miracle. Actually, if American business is going to succeed, we're going to need hundreds or even thousands of miracles. This would be depressing, but for one crucial fact. Humans are distinguished from other species by our ability to work miracles. We call these miracles technology. Technology is miraculous because it allows us to do more with less.
We're at 1.5 times speed.
Other animals are instinctively driven to build things like dams or honeycombs, but we are the only ones that can invent new things and better ways of making them. Humans don't decide what to build by making choices from some cosmic catalog of options given in advance. Instead, by creating new technologies, we rewrite the plan of the world. These are the kind of elementary truths we teach to second graders, but they're easy to forget in a world where so much of what we do is repeat what has been done before. 0 to 1 is about how to build companies that create new things. It draws on everything I've learned directly as a co-founder of PayPal and Palantir, and then an investor in hundreds of startups, including Facebook and SpaceX. But while I've noticed many patterns that are related here, this book offers no formula for success. The paradox of teaching entrepreneurship is that such a formula necessarily cannot exist. Because every innovation is new and unique, no authority can prescribe in concrete terms how to be innovative. Indeed, the single most powerful pattern that I've noticed is that successful people find value in unexpected places. And they do this by thinking about business from first principles instead of formulas. This book stems from a course about startups that I taught at Stanford in 2012. College students can become extremely skilled at a few specialties, but many never learn what to do with those skills in the wider world. My primary goal in teaching the class was to help my students see beyond the tracks laid down by academic specialties to the broader future that is theirs to create. One of those students, Blake Masters, took detailed class notes, which circulated far beyond the campus. And in 0 to 1, I worked with him to revise the notes for a wider audience. There's no reason why the future should happen only at Stanford, or in college, or in Silicon Valley. Chapter 1, the challenge of the future. Whenever I interview someone for a job, I like to ask this question. What important truth do very few people agree with you on? This question sounds easy because it's straightforward. Actually, it's very hard to answer. It's intellectually difficult because the knowledge that everyone is taught in school is
2.5 times speed.
Difficult because anyone trying to answer must say something she knows to be unpopular. Brilliant thinking is rare, but courage is an even shorter supply than genius. Most commonly, I hear answers like the following. Our educational system is broken and needs to be fixed. America is exceptional. There is no God. Those are bad answers. The first and second statements might be true, but many people already agree with them. The third statement simply takes one side in a familiar debate. A good answer takes the following form. Most people believe in X, but the truth is the opposite of X. I'll give my own answer later in the chapter. What does this contrarian question have to do with the future? In the most minimal sense, the future is simply the set of all knowns yet to come. But what makes the future distinctive and important isn't that it hasn't happened yet, but rather it will be a time when the world looks different from today. So enough of that. It starts to hurt your head after a while, but you will get used to that. Was 3 times speed. 3 times. So at that speed, you'd be done a book in an hour and a half. Let's just say you slowed it down to 2 hours. I'm telling you, it doesn't take very long to go through a book. And what I like to do is I like to physically read the book first. And now I feel like my voice is slowing down. I like to read the book first, the physical book, go through it, understand it, just go through it page by page. Now that I'm familiar with the content, which I am in this book, because I've read it a couple of times, and I've also listened to it a couple of times in audio format. I'm telling you, if you start off at 1 time speed, and then you just go a little bit, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, before you know it, you're going to be at 3.5 times speed, and your brain will ramp up and match it. You have to be by yourself. You can't be having a conversation with your significant other. It's not going to work. But in an office environment like this, where I'm by myself, sometimes I like to go into the theater and just recline and listen. So I'm just 100% focused on the audio with some headphones. I'm telling you, you'll be shocked at how many books you can actually pump through in a day. I used to take me a couple of days to get through a book, just physically reading it. And then I shaved it down. Like I said, I could read a book like this probably in about 4 hours if I'm not tired. But in an audio book, I could knock off 4 or 5 of these books, this size book, in one day. And you will recall it, especially if you're used to that type of speed. It almost becomes another language. So for sure, you could double your speed. For sure, you can go 2 times. But I'm telling you, you can go 3.5, and some people can get away with 5, 5.5. I remember one time I went into a Circle K store, and all I heard was it sounded like a hummingbird. It just, and I looked, and I saw it was a lady, and I'm like, are you listening to an audiobook? And she said, yes. I couldn't understand one word. It was at such a high frequency, and she was in a store walking around shopping. So that's what she would do all day. So it is possible. I'm not there yet. I'm not at 5 times speed, but for sure 3.5 is reasonable, and you can train your mind to do that. I don't know if this helps, if this is interesting, if this is cool. It's just that's how I'm able to blow through a lot of audiobooks, and it helps me when I'm reading physical books as well, because you're already familiar with the content. You've already went through it once. Now, when you sit down to read it physically, it doesn't take you very long. There you go. Thanks for watching. See you later.